You don't need credit. Here's why. When you're gonna buy a car, if you buy a used car for cash, you don't need credit. When you're gonna buy a home and you have no credit, what does the bank do? They look at, for example, your work history, your pay stubs, how much money you make, and also if you have any debt, right? They look at that and basically create a profile for you. This is called manual underwriting. That's what it's called, right? So once they build a profile for you without any credit, they lend you money based on that profile. And they give you, for example, a very good interest rate. It's called manual underwriting. What you guys hear when you hear, well, you have to have a good credit score in order to get the best rates out there. It's more important. It's better to not have a credit score or to have a low credit score, but what's very, very bad is to have a bad credit score, meaning you have a history of lack of payments. Remember, a credit score is just a history of how good you are at managing debt. That's all it is. To show a lender if you are the correct person or trustworthy to actually lend money to, and they form a hypothesis based on that credit score. That's the idea, honestly, right? So what are the two most important things when it comes to credit? You have, for example, payment history and also the amount of money that you actually owe. Why is it so important? Because think about it, right? Just use common sense here. If a friend is coming to you and telling you, hey, I need money, and you ask them, well, do you owe anybody else money? And they're like, yeah, I'm maxed out everywhere. All my credit cards maxed out. Have you missed payments before? Yeah, yeah, definitely. I have like 50 missed payments. What are you gonna say? Hello? No, I'm not lending you money. So if you go to the bank, for example, you say, hey, do you have any people you owe money to? Yeah, but I pay it off every month. Here's the history of it. Do you miss any payments? No, I've been paying correctly for the past 2 years or 4 years. They love that because they see basically this person is gonna pay on time no matter what. That's what they care about. So how do you basically take advantage of this, okay? Well, the idea is you go ahead, you get 2 credit cards. For example, the Capital One Secure Card and the Discover Secure Card if you are new to credit. If you are new to credit, for example, if you are not new to credit, you can just get, for example, the standard version of those credit cards, like the Capital One card and the Discover card, right? Just get those. So what you do is you add a single bill to each of them, or a few bills, okay? But they have to be recurring bills, because the reason people go into debt a lot of times with credit cards is because basically they try to manage debt, right? They try to be smart with it. They try to say, well, I'm gonna spend here a little bit, pay at the end of the month, but then something happens, well, I gotta use the credit card again, right? And before you know it, they'll have a big balance. But if you remove the ability to use credit as a credit card, you don't carry that risk anymore. So once you have those 2 bills there, for example, your phone bill there, and also, for example, let me just double check the Zoom here, make sure no one's trying to join the Zoom. Everybody's trying, let me see real quick, guys, okay? Yeah, because just want to verify that if you guys are trying to get on, I'm admitting you guys. But if you have, for example, those bills, right, and they're reoccurring every single month, what does that mean? It means, hey, I'm registering that basically I owe money here, right? But I am paying it off in full because basically I set the credit card to auto pay the balance in full. Meaning by the end of the month, I won't have a balance, I won't pay any interest, and I will register, for example, a good payment. That's what they care about. So after 12 months, 8 months, 12 months, 2 years, you'll have a pristine credit score. And the reason I say, for example, cut the credit cards, because that way it removes the temptation. Now, one thing is this. People, well, let me see. Dan says here, just use your credit card like a debit card. Spend what you have. If you don't have the money for it, you can't afford it. Interesting, but it's not that interesting, Dan. And here's why. The problem is that there was a study done, right? Because us as human beings, we can say whatever we want, right? But at the end of the day, when you have a conglomerate like the credit industry, they're very smart. They hire people that are professional, psychologists, scientists, to try to exploit us in every way possible, right? So a study was done that basically showed that basically the average person spends around 18% more when they use credit or plastic, because it's not tangible, right? So when you have cash, you kind of use the cash. When it leaves your hand, you're like, damn, I just spent $20, bro. People say like, oh, I spend cash more than I spend my credit card. I spend my cash more than I would spend on my credit card. Try for a month or 2, okay? And see how every time you spend money in cash, you're gonna feel that, wow, you spent that money. Wow. It just becomes a lot more easier to basically swipe. There's a saying, right? You could probably manage a snake, train it, but why play with it in the first place? I just don't play those games. I don't play the credit game. I don't borrow money anymore like that. So I have the same tips I'm telling you guys, okay? Because I have a credit score right now. This is live, right? We're live, right? We know we're live. Let me go on Credit Karma real quick. And hopefully my credit score didn't just take like a crazy dive or whatever, because you never know. But I should have a pretty good credit score if I'm not mistaken. And hopefully the camera kind of zooms in and shows you guys here. Let me just make sure there's no personal information here first. But yeah, I'll show you guys my credit score. And this is what I do. I don't carry any crazy debt anymore or anything like that. Well, what's your credit score, Tommy? I have a credit score of, come on, show. I can't show it. Hold up. Let me try to lower my brightness maybe. Does that work? I think you can see it there. There you go. Okay, hold up. Right here. Yeah, there you go. So I have a credit score right now of 767. That's an excellent credit score. And guess what? I don't use it like a debit card. I don't borrow money. I don't try to get points. I don't do any of those things. What I do is I focus on money management. Instead of focusing on, oh my God, I want 2% here, I focus on the real questions. I focus on, hey, how do I build wealth? How do I acquire assets? I don't play those games. That's the main thing. I don't play with snakes either. So it's just one of those games I just don't play anymore. And by the way, this comes from someone that basically initially, I owed around $13,000 in credit card debt. I was heavily leveraged. I was making a ton of money from credit cards. So I stopped this game when I was up. And that's very hard. To leave something when it's going good for you is very hard. But you have to know the math and you have to know the odds. And I don't gamble because the odds are not in my favor. The same thing here, okay? If the odds are not in my favor, I'm just not interested in playing that game. I am a cheater. I like having all the odds in my favor.